Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fableheimr. Today is a wonderful day. It's a double upload day. Episode 11 should have just gone live a few hours ago, and you might be asking, well, why are you doing a double upload? That's because episode 11 was recorded ahead of time, and thus was not recorded in patch 1.0.6, which is where we are now. Yes, the preview of the balance patch that we looked at last episode is no longer a preview. It's the real thing. And so today, I'm not going to go over every single thing that was in the patch because everything that I talked about in the preview, I'm going to kind of ignore. We're here in the old underground tomb for this. Hello. Yes, this divine power, 10-10 attack. Ooh, 9 possible infusions. We want this. And so I'm glad we got it right away. But also, the large underground tomb is a large map, and it is going to be our test. Because one of the changes is that maps had their size reduced by 75%, and the monsters within them have also been reduced by 75%. Now, I think that's a bit heavy-handed. Oops. I think that's a little bit heavy-handed, especially for small or medium maps. I don't think they needed that, but here we are. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. Don't you think? So I don't have any... We do have one quest available to us, which is to kill black goats, which you can see right before you. But I decided to hold off and not actually pick that quest up, because I want to use it for our objective, quote-unquote, to go into the next zone. And I picked up Last Prayer for Lahi, because it's really good, and we couldn't use Masochistic Pleasure in the third column anyway, which is a problem that we talked about last time. So moving forward, onward to the patch notes. Now, if you don't want to listen to me and you want to read them for yourself, they are in the description down below. Link to the full patch notes are here. And I have... Oops, I meant to heal Masamune. I have stuff written out in front of me, so if you hear any paper shuffling, that's what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. So the first thing that you may have noticed already is that Taunt has changed. Ooh, Divine Iron Knuckles. Both Taunt and Brand are no longer 3-turn buffs, / debuffs. They are now there for 3 hits. This is similar to the change that occurred to Last Prayer, where it's no longer 3 turns, it's just 3 turns, and then it'll defend you once. So now, 3 attacks on Taunt, and it goes away. 3 attacks on Brand, and it goes away. I kind of understand the one for Brand, but admittedly, a little confused in the Taunt one. And that's kind of annoying if you're running a composition that has 1 Taunt character, so just 1 tank, because that means he's going to get hit 3 times, and then there's no Taunt for 2 more enemies. Little sketchy if you ask me, but oh my god, Rune. Oh, Rune's getting scary. Imagine if I had actual weapons to infuse. Yeah. Speaking of that, the change has finally come in. They fixed the drop rate of accessories that was, well, excessive. So now everything should be back to normal, supposedly, I hope. Because, I need more infusions, both for offensive and defensive purposes. But last thing on the Taunt, there have also been some changes to the Paper Turtle and the Aegis? Blessed Aegis? Divine Aegis? I don't remember what it's called. But the changes are that it will no longer survive for 5 turns, it will survive for 3 turns, and it will still spam Provoke as it did before. But now there's a change where you can only have 1. So apparently, I didn't know this, but if you have multiple Omiyoji, each Omiyoji can have their own Paper Turtle. But now it is the case where there can only be 1 Paper Turtle on the field and 1 Aegis on the field. So if you enjoyed spamming Paper Turtles for some reason, and having 9 slots filled up, you can no longer do that. Sorry. I never got around to trying it, so... Rip me, I suppose. An important change that I want to talk about too is bleed damage. Now, bleeding is a big deal. I have lost a number of companions to bleed damage. And so one of the changes that's going on is that bleed will no longer last for 3 turns. It has been reduced to 2 turns. However, player bleeds have received a damage increase of 150%. I guess to make up for it. But monster bleeds remain unchanged, which I'm glad about, because adding 150% to some 200 damage bleeds would be... oh, that would be nasty. Let's see, what do I want to talk about next? I guess I'll just keep going down the list, even though they're not exactly in a good order. The next thing I've written down is that there is a reduction on the chance to receive miscontamination. Now, miscontamination is a very annoying jinx, and apparently there was an increased chance to get it compared to other jinxes, and that has been removed. And by the way, that was incredibly rude of them to make it so that miscontamination had a higher chance of proccing. But it has been brought down to the same par with other jinxes, which is good because there's video evidence a number of times of us just getting 4 miscontaminations in a row, and me being tilted about it. I guess on the note of jinxes, I can talk about real quick. I mentioned it yesterday, but, you know, well, in the last episode, not yesterday now. There are now a maximum of 10 jinxes, and once you have reached max level and have all 10 jinxes, they are not removed anymore once you have all 10. And this includes, this was clarified in the patch notes today, that includes jinxes from cursed items. So if you really want to min-max, what it sounds like you can do is you can... wait a minute, did my brand just go away? Weird. What it sounds like you can do is you can get cursed items, like give an item you have to a lower level, get them killed so the item will become cursed, and then give it to your max level character. And if they have 10 jinxes, the cursed jinx will not affect them. Which sounds insanely strong, and also incredibly tedious. It means you're gonna have to build another character just to kill them. Which, you know, I've done that before, so I'm not that against it. And on that exact same note, when you are training a skill that you don't know, so for example, we trained Last Prayer very recently, before this episode in fact, to Lahi, if you are training someone in a skill now, the level of that skill will also be transferred. So you could, in theory, like we're doing with Rune, we are increasing, well, this kind of sucks. We are leveling up Star Striker, which is a cooperative ability, and takes a ton of skill points. So we could dedicate all of her skill points to Star Striker, and then have a second wish that we level up, give her like Chaos Blast rank 5. Which is cool, but kind of annoying because I already know Chaos Blast. And of course you cannot train cooperative abilities. So you can't, like, use a Puppet Grim Reaper and then suddenly give the one you like Shadow Raid 5, unfortunately. Just not the way it works anymore. And you saw that the enemy just received a hit buff. That's because one of the changes is that when you miss, you will receive a hit buff to reduce the chances of you missing again. Because we've seen a number of times when there's multiple misses in a row. And that never feels good. So they're trying to make that happen less frequently. Which, I mean, it's fine. I don't mind that too much. Another minor change is that once you have discovered a boss, that boss will be displayed on the map. Not that big of a deal because bosses are always at the exit, but, you know, it's there now. More stuff to just sit on the map. Am I giving speed? Yeah, because I want Masamune to Devil's Eye these. I guess we're stunning first. The next change that I didn't actually know was a thing is that crew members with the lowest HP will now be healed, like as priority, by the HP recovery that you find in debris. I already thought that happened, but I guess it just split it among your crew members no matter what, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, so I'm glad they changed that. You should give the healing to the person that needs it the most. That only makes sense. I already talked about the Jinx thing, talked about the skill. They reduced the time that it takes to like fuse, disassemble, evaluate, and train or modify Jinxes. That's not that big of a deal, but it did, you know, you've seen me sit here and Jinx, evaluate and fuse stuff before, because I borrow your guys' good luck. So, that will now be faster, which is nice. I don't have to sit there for as long and come up with something to talk about. Something that is now relevant is that once combat has concluded, stuns will be removed. Traditionally, there'd be the character that was stunned, and if combat ends like right now, Masamune would still have the stun effect. Ooh, more speed. Give me more speed. He's branded, though. And the brand disappeared. It feels like the brand is taking both a hit and a decrease from a turn. That doesn't make sense. Too much sense, anyway. But oh. Oh, also on the note of the turtle and Aegis, they have had their quote-unquote overpowered, I don't actually know if they were overpowered, but overpowered stats balanced. What does that mean? I have no idea. But apparently they had overpowered stats. News to me. So that is all of the major changes that I can think of. There are some other changes that were in the patch notes that you can see in the description down below if you feel so inclined. So with those out of the way, I just want to touch real quick on the bug fixes in case you have encountered any of these yourself. The most important of the bug fixes was the one that I already mentioned, and that was the change to the accessory drop rate. Good accessories are amazing, but I need more weapons. So I'm glad it was finally fixed. Apparently, it was a bug based on some background information that is applicable to one of the upcoming DLCs, or the first upcoming DLC. So yeah, that's fixed finally. Another issue that was fixed is there, every so often, apparently, I say apparently because this hasn't happened to me, whenever you use hide with the Shadow Blade and then you enter combat, there was a bug that would cause you to remain in hide after combat has concluded, and I didn't want you to move there. So that has been fixed. Again, I didn't encounter that, but apparently it was a thing. So it needs to be fixed. There's also an issue where the completion rate at the bottom of the screen would appear abnormally when you begin an expedition after changing the language. Now, I've never changed the language, so I never encountered it. But it was a thing, and has thus been fixed. Move backwards. There's also one, this one was funny to me, but there was an issue every now and then that light flowers would randomly generate in a spot that made it so that people couldn't actually move into a certain location. That has also been remedied. So that's good. I'd be really mad if randomly generated obstacles wouldn't let me go to where I wanted to go. The next bug fix is one that I am really glad finally happened. This has happened a number of times to me. Video evidence, as I was saying, of high-level monsters would get initiative even if the core crew had initiative. So if you attack first against monsters at a higher level, there were times when the monsters would still go first. That has been fixed, thankfully, because that was infuriating. I worked so hard to get initiative, and then the monsters would just go. Like, they ignored the rules of the game. So that has been fixed. Ooh, a witch. Of course we're gonna save the witch. I love witches. Well, as is typical, The monsters attacking an expedition member are pretty scary. Pretty scary. I guess we'll do this to start off with. Then we'll try and stun these. Crit the spellcaster. And that was it. Those are all of the major changes in the patch. There were, I'll repeat it again just for prosperity, there were more changes that are in the patch notes down below in the description if you want to see everything. All in all, what do I think? What do I think of the patch notes? I want to watch this brand very carefully, because if it goes away after a hit and after a turn, that's kind of... I don't think that's intended, but we'll see. Draw's turn is next. We're watching it carefully. So one brand was removed. Doesn't that feel like it's going to be removed too quickly if it's a turn and an attack? I might as well mention it as well, but bleed damage can now be negated, well not negated, but reduced by blocking, so pressing the X button. Which is good, because I've tried to do that before and it didn't work. But now it does. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. So my thoughts on... I finally got Shadowblade armor. Finally. Why couldn't I come sooner? I came as soon as I could, lady. I'm sorry. Turn back 2 minutes. Oh. That's what it means, huh? Well, I don't really need to like this flower, so do we just leave? So this is now what a large map looks like after the 75% map size reduction, which honestly looks like a medium map. And we've been recording for 17 minutes. This is unheard of for a large map. I have some videos on large maps that are like an hour long. Ugh. I don't know if that's a good thing. Hopefully you guys like it. Question mark? One thing that's very important on YouTube these days is the amount of time people spend watching your video. And, you know, I think statistics have shown that the ideal video length is around 20 minutes. So, I mean, if we're looking specifically at that sort of thing, maybe it's a good thing. But I feel like large has kind of lost its meaning. I'm terrified of seeing what a small map is now. Ugh. We'll see, we'll see. I don't want to have any, what would you call it? Self-fulfilling prophecy? Expectations? Stuff like that. Dara, Masamune, and Rune have all reached rank 8. We are here. So I think this divine power, we're going to pump this thing. We're going to pump it. I think some of the changes are good. I think some of them are really heavy-handed. And I think that bleeding might actually be better now, because more of the damage is up front rather than over time. We can take a look real quick at bleed skills. Where are we at? I still haven't leveled these people very much. So bomb toss, what are we at? So it's 60-60 instead of 40-40. 90-60. I mean, it's better. Can't deny that. Now, I don't want to evaluate this, I think. There are a number of things that I would want on it that make it better, but I think we want to just pour things into it. No, not evaluate. We want to fuse it up as high as we can first. Where the heck is it? Hello? Don't tell me I can't actually do anything until I discover it. Or until I evaluate it. Anyway, so what I was going to say is we don't want to evaluate it first, because it could have secondary stats that make it harder to roll for attack or hit. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So we evaluate it first. All things considered, these are kind of mediocre. I wanted things like crit or defense or speed. Something like that. But, I mean, resistance is okay. It's defense, right, at the end of the day. Alright. But here we go. I'm pretty convinced I'm not going to use a paladin, because no one has really complained about my group composition yet. I made episode 10, and I was like, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to use this, and we're going to go forward. No one really complained about it, so here we are. Ooh, we rolled the attack. Oh, yeah. Show it to me again. Show me attack. It's beautiful. We're going to make this the one ring of power. We're already out of blue stuff, though. What is... Oof. Oof. These both suck. Dara's hitting hard and he's working with crap. I guess we give him the divine ones, right? Ugh. We need to, I don't know what we need to do. Do some runs. Yeah, the divine ones do have less hit, but that is what Mental Amulet is for. Mental Amulet is there to make up for my terrible luck. So we're going to infuse the Divine Paw. This can will weaken resist. See, this is why I wish you could fuse without evaluating, but I learned today that you can't, so that strategy's out the frickin' window. This is actually a good weapon. Roll attack. Hey, hey, hey. You guys are great luck. Holy crap. I'm proud. Proud of you all for giving me your power. Bestowing RNG's favor upon me. Now, unfortunately, I don't think it's worth wasting the rest of my fusion slots. How much do we have left? We're at 3 out of 9. We have 6 more fusions. And I want all of them to be divine weapons. So because the changes are in, we should be seeing more diverse loot. So here's a divine lance that sucks. A divine celestial that, I mean, hits good, but -5, -5. A divine steely. Divine unweakening. We're still seeing accessories. There's at least some other things here. We're going to end up going here into the Forbidden Zone for the next quests and to unlock the boss battle. But, not much here, huh? Just curious, what's in the Misty Forest? Junk. That is an epic and it still only has 3 speed. Wow. Gear just kind of exponentially increases, huh? Alright, well, I'll deal with the shop off camera. It's kind of boring stuff. So, what do you guys think of patch 1.0.6? I'm still feeling it out. The next couple episodes, I think I'll be able to describe more effectively what I think the overall effect, more effectively, the overall effect of the patch has had on the game. I'm still looking forward to mod support whenever official mod tools are coming out. I have no idea, but hopefully it's soon TM, and the the community can begin contributing their own tweaks that they feel are necessary. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Look forward to next time when we explore the 3rd area for the very first time, and we prepare to take on the Black Goddess of the Earth.